Hey ladies, I'm about to epoxy my round ultra dyed board, and I know some of you wanted me to do a video on it, so here we go. This is the epoxy that I've been using on everything. It is Fama Wood glaze coat. It comes in two parts, as most of you already know. And I got it at Lowe's. I think it was like $25. And this has actually lasted me quite a while. It does go a long way. I've done mostly cups with it. So, all right. Well, I have some cups here that have some little lines in it that I'm going to use to make sure I get it equal parts. So I'm going to scoot over to this side and measure that up real quick. And I've never epoxied one of these boards, so I'm really just kind of taking a stab at how much I need. So I'm going to probably make a little too much to make sure I don't have too little and then need to make up more. So let's see what we got here. Whatever I put in here, I'm going to put the same amount in the other cup. So basically I'm going to have twice the amount. So shouldn't need too much. Probably don't wind up just using all of it. Let's see what this looks like. Second line there. Move that to the side. I recommend wearing gloves. I was going to start this process and I was out of them and I just touched the tops of the bottles and I was like, ugh, no, can't do it. OCD, I don't like the way it feels on my hands. So I ran to Walgreens real quick and picked up some gloves. Plus you don't want the chemicals on your hands. I've seen some people posting some reactions that they've had to it, so you don't want that. Make sure it's exact amount. I'm just gonna check this. Alright, so this says to mix one into the other, A into B or B into A, I guess it really doesn't matter, and mix it for 6 minutes, and then you're going to take that and put it in another clean cup and mix for another 6 minutes. I have my timer ready to go on my computer, so let's get it going. This is probably way too much. Way more than what I actually need. But it is what it is. Grab a spatula here. You know what? Get as much of this out as you can because you want equal parts, so. Thank you, ladies, by the way, for all the compliments on the way things are turning out with it. I'm really loving it. I love the silver. I wasn't sure what color I was going to use on it, but I really like the silver because it's enough to stand out, but just not so in your face. I think it goes with the black really well and the colors. I like that you can still see a lot of the stained wood through my design. Alright, so now that I got that in there, I'm going to start my timer here real quick. And mix away. Hope you can see this. Alright, yes you can. Excuse my mess. I get in here and get going and don't clean up before my next venture, which I should. My husband comes in and says, how on earth are you able to find anything in here? He asked me the other day, do you have any Q-tips? I said, yeah, got some in my craft room on my shelf in front of the window. So he comes in yesterday and he's like, hey, there's some Q-tips. I said, yeah, I told you they were on that shelf in front of the window. He's like, no, you didn't. I found some somewhere else and they're not like real Q-tips. And I'm like cracking up at him. I'm like, I told you exactly where they were. So even though my room's messy, I still know where everything's at. Alright, so I'm just going to mix this for the next 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm wondering if I should pause my video or just be awkwardly silent for the next 4 minutes. You guys, when you use this, you want to also scrape the sides and the bottom really well as you do it. So you want it all nice and mixed so that it cures correctly. Don't worry about the bubbles. We'll get those out later and I'll show you how to do that. And be careful with the epoxy because once you get it on your clothes, it ain't coming out. Been there, done that. That's why I've got gloves on and I've got an apron on. Sure, I'll still wind up getting it on my shirt sleeves, but it is what it is. I guess I really don't have to epoxy my board, but honestly, I think, number one, it's going to look really cool with the glossy effect. It's going to look nice, like glass. And it'll be easy to clean dust off of it and things like that. And my vinyl will be protected because I definitely don't plan on changing out my design. So I want to keep it protected so that I can clean it without damaging it. And once I get my vinyl on, or not my vinyl, but my epoxy on, and let it cure for a few days, I was going to screw in my handles, but my husband was like, well, why don't you just glue them on? That way you don't have to worry about the right size screws, because they come with 2 different screws, but they screw in from the underneath. I don't know, I just don't want to deal with that. So I think I'm going to maybe use some E6000 glue and just glue them on, since it's just for decorations anyways. It's just going to be hanging on my wall. Alright, got 2 more minutes of this round, and then I'm going to transfer it and do 6 more minutes, and I think I will pause the video for that part. That way my video is not super long. This is what it's looking like. You can see all the bubbles in there. You don't have to worry about that. So we're going to use a blowtorch later on to get them out. But if you don't have a blowtorch and you have a heat gun, you can use a heat gun as well. You just need a heat source and bring them to the top. I already have my board set up and ready to go. You'll want to elevate it, and I'll show you that in a little bit, but basically you want to elevate it up off of the table so that your epoxy can overflow onto the edges and not pull up around the bottom of it. And you want to make sure it's as level as you can get it. It took me a minute, but I think I got it. "22 seconds. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and pause this video and pour this into my new cup. And then I'll bring it back on once I get set up for my board. All right, everybody, I'm back. Number one, excuse my messy room, because it sure is a hot mess. But here's my little contraption. I got my floor protected. I got my trays protected. I got my case that I'm using to prop it up. I even have, I don't know if you can see, here we go, some like little paint thingamajigs to raise it up so it's not flat on my case there. And you want it as level as you can get it. Let's see if I can get a better view of that. There you go. I still have my phone attached to my tripod, so I'm going to hold it with my hand and try to do this one-handed. And I've got epoxy all over this hand. Okay. So, here we go. I'm going to pour this on. I'm sorry, guys. Let me see if I can't prop this up here somewhere. Hopefully that'll work to where you can at least see what I'm doing. Fix my, get another glove. And let's start pouring the epoxy. I'm going to take this little spatula that I have inside here. I'm going to save a little bit for my sides. And I'm just going to kind of help smooth it out. Epoxy is self-leveling. It's going to overflow. That's okay. You want it to go over the edges. Oh my goodness, you guys. This color has just popped so much. It's so bright. You have to epoxy your boards, you guys. You'll be so glad that you did. It's not even funny. It looks amazing. This is just a little spatula that I found in my kitchen. It says Cuisinart on it, but I have no idea where it came from. I can't wait to give you guys like an aerial view of the way this color looks. I'll probably take a foam brush and do my edges. It's kind of chilly in here, but I didn't want to stir up any dust by turning on my a little space heater. What I would really like to do is place a box over top of this once I get my epoxy on. Keep any dust from falling on it, but I don't think that's going to happen because it's super elevated. I don't think I have a box big enough. But if you guys have a box big enough to do so, I would recommend it if you're especially if you're in a highly dusty area. Sorry, I'm being quiet. I'm just kind of concentrating here. I can already see all these bubbles popping. Should have been a little bit more prepared. Let me get a foam brush for my edges. Needs a thin coat just to give it some shine. Okay. If you get a lot of excess that runs over the edge and leaves little drip marks on the bottom of your project, just don't worry about it. Let it dry really good. Flip it over. Give it a quick sanding. you guys can see what I'm doing here. Alright, and this chair is gonna fight. Sorry guys, again, for being quiet. Just trying to pay attention, make sure I get everything that I need. Again, don't really do videos, so sometimes I forget you all are listening to me. Divot here. Just on the other side of the camera, making sure all of my black edge is covered. Sorry for the shaky camera. Okay, gonna kind of walk around here. All right, so now I can take my gloves off. see if I can move this to show you. See those bubbles in there? Give me just one moment. I'm going to light my torch here. Look at how pretty that color popped. Loving it. Alright, let's try this while holding. See how they just kind of pop and go away? Trying to do this so that you guys can see what I'm doing, but pay attention as well so I'm not burning anything here. Sorry. So guys, this is pretty much it. Let me show you real quick. Look how pretty that is. Woo! Loving that color. Loving that color. Alright guys, I'm going to turn you off here. Bye. Thanks for watching.